Hi, my name's Lee Gusshurst, and this is a demonstration of BOMGarten. BOMGarten is a bill of materials management tool and scraper. What it does is it bridges that gap between your schematic capture and your selection of real-world components. So what I have here is a demo project which is about ready to go into production in PCB design layout. So I've got my circuit laid out. I run the rules checker and it says it's good. I go into the footprint selection and I've got all of my footprints already selected. If we look over here, we can see that, there's a footprint for each one. So what we need to do now is secure all of these parts, these real world parts. Now you can do this before you go into PCB layout, or you can do it after or during. But roughly, this is the phase of the project where you really need to start looking at real world components. Now, when you do this, KiCAD doesn't have a default bill of materials generator yet. The one that I use and I really like that isn't mine is called Bombs Away. But what that does is it goes through and it creates a CSV file on your behalf using these values. So the reference value, the footprint, the data sheet. And so it creates a CSV file based on these things, and it allows you to modify it as a spreadsheet. The only drawback to this is that now you have a separate file that you have to manually manage. And it's horribly tedious to do that. It's still a great tool. I mean, if you don't like my tool, I highly recommend it. But what my tool aims to do is to kind of bridge that gap between your project and your bill of materials. And to show you how that works, the easiest way to do it is just to show you BOMGarten. So if we open up BOMGarten, the first thing you're going to want to do is going to want to look for your project. And as you can see, we've got all of the components that we were just looking at. Now, one of these footprints, this guy right here, actually has a part called out in it in the footprint itself. So let's look for that footprint. Go to DigiKey. Let's do, what was it called? 12BH611. 12BH611GR, I think it was. If we look for it, it's not going to find it. But if we go to Mauser, it's going to find it immediately. And this is the kind of product that we want. But let's find a replacement. So 9-volt battery clip, I think should work. So when we do that, we go to the battery clips and holders section, and then we can find this guy right here. And so this is cool. We now have a DigiKey part number. We found a replacement. Let's copy this, and let's try to put a real-world value to a footprint. Now, what BOMGarten does is it actually creates all of these fields, and it will attach them to a schematic file. KiCAD has open sourced their project, so they actually have a helper Python file that allows me to pretty much read and write out their schematic files. So for this, I can say this is a direct replacement for the 12BH611-GR. And what I really like about this is normally making a bill of materials is a task you throw out to a technician because it takes forever, it's a lot of data entry. What this does is it kind of removes a lot of the data entry and puts the engineer in control of actually writing meaningful notes, which I think is cool. I think that will add to the longevity of a project. So let's do this again, just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. Let's look for an LM555. Now, this is a pretty generic part. We want a dip package, so we've got a dip package. This is a no lead. And so I don't know if you noticed, but I just quickly copied that. And then I could just throw it in there. And now this is here. And I can say this is a generic part, and was chosen based on price. Um, so you can just give a reason as to why you wanted this part versus another part. So when you're done populating the whole thing, what we can do is we can save this off as a schematic or generate a BOM or do both. So what we're going to do is we're going to do both. This is warning me that I shouldn't overwrite my schematic file, which is good advice for this thing because I haven't squashed all the bugs in this yet. So this is an alpha version, so the point of this is just to demonstrate functionality. It's not to be the finished product. So I could end up changing, how things are ordered or what gets output. So don't 100% rely on it yet. And let's generate the BOM as well to see what is being generated. So this is going to be a CSV file. And we'll just call it CSV. And we'll just call it spreadsheet. And this is more for your, number cruncher types. So I think we're done with BOMGarten right now. We can just go ahead and close that. Let's minimize that. So if we go into the area where we have this stuff saved off, let's look at the spreadsheet first and see what that offers us. As you can see, we only modified two products or two components that are going to go into our final PCB. But we have all of these things set up already. We have part links, we have descriptions, we have the data sheet already set up, so it's there. So if we wanted to download the data sheet for each of these things, we can do that. We have the supplier name, so we know where to buy the thing. So all of this is taken care of us. What component it's referenced at. So this is enough to actually start buying. So you would send this to your purchasing department. If you have one. If not, you'd send it directly to your component distributor. They actually ingest CSV files now, which is kind of cool. So let's look at the schematic and see what happened here. So this is the schematic that we saved off, that BOMGarten saved off. And as you can see, it's perfectly readable. Hasn't changed anything, but if you go into the properties, you can see that now all of these things have been added. And the cool thing about BOMGarten is that we can start doing things like, I don't know, maybe changing notes and say, this is a modified note. Okay. And we'll save that. Let's just make sure that the changes did take effect. And if I save my schematic now, when BOMGarten opens it, it should see those changes because it will read those changes. But let's do something like it's so common in a project. Let's remove a component from your schematic. So I just removed R1, so R1 is no longer there. And let's go to R3 here, and symbol properties, R3. And BOMGarten went out and created fields for all of these. Now the tildes are just placeholders, so I can just say placeholder. So add that, and you know what? Let's just add another component. Let's just put in a resistor right here, and let's annotate it because let's get crazy here. Where's the annotate? Annotate. Okay. Keep existing annotations. Okay. Yep. So, it became R1. Now how did that? I wanted R4. Well, you know what? I should have done it in reverse. But you know what? Let's do it again. Put it in there. Let's annotate it. Keep dialing first 3. 0. 3 after 3. Let's do that. Okay, R4. So yeah. Anyways, now we have an R4, which is cool. And this isn't uncommon to do. I'll just put it right there. This isn't uncommon to do. Sometimes it happens when you're working in a schematic. And having done this multiple times, I know that going into a spreadsheet and having to manually edit something that you've already spent hours doing is a real pain. And so I'm going to save and exit. So now we have BOMGarten 2, the schematic. So let's just open it up. And if we go and open up the second one here, as you can see, we no longer have an R1. We have an R4. And we have This one, yep. And we have our modifications. So we can just generate a BOM based on this. And then we say, let's go over to the schematic here, just overwrite our CSV. And I think we're good. Let's open it up again with LibreCalc, semicolon. And yeah, so R4 is a little bit janky because it's a new component. We didn't have a footprint for it. But as you can see, now our schematic is actually the driving force behind our bill of materials. So we're able to just keep it in the schematic. And if we make changes to the schematic, it'll make changes to the bill of materials by virtue of just being there. So I hope you guys find some use in this. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. It's still a work in progress. It's an alpha, so it could change. Actually, it's going to change. If you guys have any feedback, I mean, feel free to modify the project, fork it, do whatever it is you want. So have at it. I guess I'll talk to you guys later.